Well, guys, in this country, I do believe that we actually do have the right to bear arms. But we know that there is people here in this country, namely the American left, that don't want you to have weapons. They actually want to violate the Second Amendment right. So every time there is an incident that happens, the left runs right to, we need more restrictions. Now, they want to violate your constitutional rights, but they have no problem whatsoever with criminals actually having weapons. They're not trying to keep the weapons out of the hands of criminals. They don't want you, the law-abiding citizen, to actually protect yourself. Now, I live in the great state of Texas. We are a constitutional carry state. All you got to do is go into a gun shop and do a background check, and you get your weapon and you go. That's what I did. But if I was actually in one of these other left-wing states like New York or California, it probably would actually be hell to actually get a weapon to protect myself. Everyone, I believe every law-abiding citizen should have a weapon if they want to. And guys, one way to actually stop all of these shootings in school, if you ask me, every single teacher should actually have a gun if they want to. Every single school should have an armed security officer. I believe that would put a stop to what's been going on in this country. But we know that will never, ever happen. Gun-free zones in schools. I am completely against that. Why is it that school zones are gun-free, but yet we're still having school shootings? Why? It's because the criminals do not follow the law. Now, you guys probably have heard of Daniel Perry. He was actually in the Army. And of course, you guys know about the Summer of Blood in 2020. And 2020, man, that was probably one of the worst years I can remember here in America. Now, of course, 2001, September 11th, that was big right there. A lot of people tend to forget how unified we were after 9/11. I never seen such patriotism in America. We were united after 9/11. But now we are more divided than ever, at least in my lifetime. Of course, I wasn't around for the Civil War, but I think I can actually safely say we're more divided now ever since the Civil War. Well, Daniel Perry is actually facing life in prison because he was actually convicted of murder. Now, who did he kill? He actually killed a BLM person, because this is Summer of Blood, right? BLM, a mob walked up to his vehicle. He was actually just doing Uber. He was in the Army. He was just trying to make some more money. He made a wrong turn. And then the mob descended upon his vehicle. And guess what? One of the BLM people pulled out an AK-47 and pointed it right at him. And he had a split second to react. And he pulled out his weapon and he shot back. And he killed a person. And now the man is actually facing life in prison for defending himself. You have the right to defend yourself in this country. But Austin, Texas does not represent Texas. It is a bunch of people from California that actually leave California, and they leave California for a reason, but for some reason, they're trying to replicate California over here in Texas. Austin is the state capital. And if I'm the state government, man, I'm looking at moving the state government elsewhere. I would not want to be in Austin, Texas. I've been to Austin. I only went there for like a day. Hung out on 16th Street, ate at some places. This was way back, I believe, in 2016. That's the only time I've actually been to Austin. But however, Austin does not represent Texas. It just does not. And this woke DA over there, his name is Jose Garza. He actually prosecuted Daniel Perry for defending himself. And I dug up some stuff on Mr. Garza. He's a Democrat. But it gets worse, folks. Where have you heard this before? He is George Soros funded. And not only that, when I actually call the Democrat Socialist, this guy is actually a card-carrying member of the Democrat Socialist of America. Yeah, this is the same organization that your AOCs are a part of. I believe Cori Bush as well. Yeah, radical far leftists. Radical far leftists. I believe what this DA did was wrong. Was wrong. You have a right to defend yourself. I'm sorry, guys, but didn't the Democrats actually hate guns? Why is it that they seem to be okay with this BLM guy actually having an AK-47? And he pointed it at this Uber driver, this army guy. He pointed the weapon at him, and a crowd of these BLM people surrounded his car. I'm pretty sure that Daniel Perry was scared for his life. Guys, I was in the military. And one thing that I know, do not pull up a loaded weapon on anybody unless you're ready to shoot. So to Daniel Perry, this guy was probably about to shoot him. So what was he supposed to do? Just let the guy shoot him? No. If that was me in that situation, and that, especially if my wife was in the car, I'm going to shoot back. I'm going to defend myself. All the man did was make a wrong turn. That was it. But BLM, these woke communists, because that's what they are. That's what they stand for. You know, that guy has the same beliefs, I guess, as Jose Garza, the far left woke DA, Soros funded, a card carrying member of the Democrat Socialist of America. Guys, that is the biggest threat from within this country, is the socialists and communists. China is they're passing us up. Maybe they've already passed us up. But there's a lot of people, I believe, in this country that want us to actually end up becoming like China. Why is it that we actually have our former president being prosecuted? This is some Stalinist kind of stuff. This is stuff you actually see in communist countries. Because the American left, especially, these Soros guys, they are communists. America needs to wake up to the reality that these people are dangerous. They're going after law-abiding citizens. This man was actively in the military. And now he's facing life in prison. But we got some good news here. Look here, it says Greg Abbott vows to pardon Sergeant Daniel Perry after murder conviction and death of BLM Rioter. And you know what? I was thinking, all right, because I heard from other people too, they were saying Greg Abbott needs to pardon him. And the thing is, it's not just that simple. Like, when presidents usually leave office, they just pardon people that have that power. In Texas, the governor is kind of restricted a little bit on this. He just can't come out and just say, hey, I'm going to pardon him. But Greg Abbott is actually planning on pardoning him because in Texas, he can actually request a pardon from the Department of, I think he even mentions it here. I'm just going to go ahead and read this here. Let me just bring this up here over here on Twitter so you guys really have an understanding here. But Greg Abbott here says, I'm working as swiftly as possible, as Texas law allows, I should say, regarding the pardon of Sergeant Perry. Texas has one of the strongest stand your ground laws on self-defense that cannot be nullified by a jury or a progressive district attorney. Unlike the president or some other states, the Texas Constitution limits the governor's pardon authority to only act on a recommendation by the Board of Pardons and Parolees. Texas law does allow the governor to request the Board of Pardons and Parolees to determine if a person should be granted a pardon. I have made that request and instructed the board to expedite its review. I look forward to approving the board's pardon recommendation as soon as it hits my desk. Additionally, I have also prioritized reining in rogue district attorneys And the Texas legislature is working on laws to achieve that goal. Now, the Texas legislature is actually run by Republicans. Now, one thing about Texas that I don't think a lot of people actually knew, Texas has been run by Republicans for roughly like 30 years. They've had all this power. But for some reason, they were actually allowing Democrats to be the leads on committees. And I believe that needed to stop. I'm not exactly sure if that's actually stopped, but that's another story, so I digress. So he's actually saying that he put in a request for a pardon. This man needs to be pardoned. I mean, if this guy can't get pardoned, boy, we got problems. We got serious problems here. This should be a slam dunk right here. A slam dunk. Now, what if the board comes back and says no? Is there another avenue that Greg Abbott could actually go with this? I'm not really sure. Now, limiting the power of the governor in this case, I guess is kind of a good and bad thing, you know? Like in this case, if Daniel Perry is actually able to get off, it'll be a good thing. But let's say that you actually had a far left governor, for example, and let's say you actually had a BLM Rioter, and they were just shooting a gun, and they ended up killing somebody. Actually, they were trying to shoot somebody, but they ended up killing somebody else, you know? And what if the governor said, and he got convicted. Let's say he got convicted. And the governor's going to say, wait a minute, I stand with BLM on this. I don't agree with this person being found guilty. I'm going to give him a pardon. And then the governor all of a sudden can just pardon him. So I guess it's that would be a bad thing right there. So Texas law, it limits the power of the governor and what he could actually do here in this case. But I was stunned, guys. We didn't actually hear about this. I don't think many people actually heard about this case. Now, everybody knew about the Kyle Rittenhouse case. And that's probably because the media really tried to spin it as Kyle Rittenhouse, of course, you know, they had a woke DA over there also as well. But the media was trying to spin that Kyle Rittenhouse was killing black people. So that was really why that was in the news. But in this case, the BLM guy wasn't even he wasn't even black. Now Sergeant Perry is white, and the guy right here, Garrett Foster, that's the BLM guy. He's a white guy. So this was a white on white crime, and I guess the media really couldn't spin it. Honestly, I didn't even really hear about this thing, to tell you the truth. I didn't. But look here. Our Attorney General over here in the great state of Texas, Ken Paxton, slams Soros-backed prosecutor after jury convicts Army Sergeant for shooting protester. Like I said, guys, Austin is an extremely left-wing city. If I'm not mistaken, guys, I believe in Austin, I believe in his past governor's election, I believe that Beto O'Rourke got something like 65% of the vote, 70% of the vote over there in Austin. Now, in the city of Houston is still Democratic. I mean, Houston has never voted for a Republican mayor. However, guys, I don't know if people actually know this or not, but Greg Abbott got like 45% of the vote in Harris County, where Houston is. And actually, he had actually won Harris County, if I'm not mistaken, in his previous election. So the Houston area, yeah, it's still Democrat, but it's not over the top radical like Austin, Texas is. But anyway, this is on Fox News. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is lashing out at a Soros-backed prosecutor after a Lone Star state jury found Daniel Perry, a U.S. Army sergeant, guilty in the shooting death of an armed protester in Austin. He was armed, AK-47, he pointed at him, during anti-police demonstrations in the summer of 2020. Quote, self-defense is a God-given right, not a crime. Unfortunately, the Soros-backed DA in Travis County cares more about the radical agenda of dangerous Antifa and BLM mobs than justice, Patson said in a statement to Fox News Digital. Well, he's not the only one, too. Remember, in 2020, all these BLM rioters that actually got arrested, who was actually bailing them out? That'd be Kamala Harris. Yeah, she was bailing out these thugs and criminals. She was getting them bailed out in 2020. Just in case you guys forgot that. But anyway, he goes on, he says, quote, this week has shown us how rogue prosecutors have weaponized the judicial system, he added. They must be stopped. Patson's comments blaming Travis County DA Jose Garza come after a Texas jury deliberated for 2 days and ultimately ruled against Perry in the fatal shooting. Yeah, Austin is just full of far leftists, and they keep voting for this stuff. They keep voting for this stuff in our state capital. Why is it you people from California, why do you guys want to leave California, but yet you just want to recreate California over here? Remember why you actually left California. Following the ruling from the jury, Garza, according to a Fox affiliate in Central Texas, released the following statement, quote, I'm grateful to our dedicated career prosecutors and victims, counselors who tried this case. They worked hard to make a complete and accurate presentation of the facts to the jury. Our hearts continue to break for the Foster family. Oh my God. We hope this verdict brings closure and peace to the victim's family. This guy pointed a gun at Sergeant Perry. He pointed the weapon at him. He probably was going to shoot him. So what was Sergeant Perry supposed to do? Just do nothing? Just let him just shoot him and die? No. I mean, this is crazy here, but this is how these Soros-backed DAs think. These people are radical, man. Radical. Super radical. Let's read a little bit more here, guys. The shooting involved Sergeant Perry. Occurred during BLM demonstrations that erupted across the Texas state capitol and the rest of the United States nearly 3 years ago. Perry, who was stationed at Fort Hood at the time, was driving for Uber to make extra money in downtown Austin on the night of July 25th, 2020, when he encountered a large group of protesters. They were illegally blocking city streets at night. They were doing all this illegally, folks. According to police, as protesters in Austin and elsewhere had done during the weeks of rioting. Among the protesters was 28-year-old Garrett Foster. I like how they call them protesters, right? No, it's not a protester. When you actually pulling a gun on somebody, you're not a protester. Who was carrying an AK-47. Perry's defense team says that the demonstrators encircled and started pounding on his vehicle, and that Foster raised the firearm at Perry, prompting him to open fire with a handgun he legally carried for self-defense. Now, quote, when Garrett Foster pointed his AK-47 at Daniel Perry, Daniel had 0.2 of a second to defend himself. Of course, he chose to live. Doug O'Connell, an attorney for Perry, previously told Fox in a statement. Quote, it may be legal in Texas to carry an assault rifle in downtown Austin. It doesn't make it a good idea. If you point a firearm at someone, you're responsible for everything that happens next. Yes. Now, let me ask you, you liberals that are actually watching this video. If somebody was to actually point a gun at you and you had a gun, what would you do? I wouldn't even have to think twice. I'm going to pull that trigger. If they pull a gun on me, I gotta protect myself, man. I got a family. I actually love my family. Maybe you guys actually don't love your families, but I do. And Sergeant Perry, man, he needs to be free. He should be free. This man did nothing wrong. But woke DAs, man, that is the problem here with this country now. Woke DAs, they don't believe in the rule of law. You do have the right to self-defense. But these woke DAs don't care. They don't care at all. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.